Hello and welcome to 2023. I'm Bob Loudermilk with Second Half Life, and I'm glad that you've joined us today. I want to share a quick message with you about life. As we begin a new year, it's good to reflect back and think on what we've come through. And I did this at the beginning of the year and wrote down several things that I'm grateful for. I encourage you to do the same thing. One of the things on my list was the successful Second Half Expo back in October for seniors in Oklahoma City. Another thing that I'm grateful for was the wonderful vacation I enjoyed with my wife as we went to Europe and toured Scotland and Ireland. And I'll say something about that in a moment. But I want to talk for a moment about life and the meaning of life and the purpose in life. At the beginning of the year, I began to read a fairly new book that I had never heard of. It's called 4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals. Now, I needed to read this book, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. Because all of my life, it seems like I've been in a hurry. And I'm always using experiences as a stepping stone to get to the next step, and I'm very goal-oriented. But this book caused me to reflect on what the purpose of life is. The author said that our lives are full of activities that we will be doing for the last time. But the thing is, we never know when that last time will be. You know, if you have children, there'll come a day when you pick up your child for the last time. There'll be a day when you have that deep conversation with a friend for the last time, but you never know when that's going to be. So the author said this, and I wrote it in my journal. He said, "Life is nothing but a succession of present moments culminating when you leave the world. You'll probably never feel like you have all things in perfect order. So stop postponing the real meaning of your life into the future and throw yourself into life now." That's good advice for me, and maybe that will be helpful for you as well. You know, it might sound a little bit morbid, but there are times when I enjoy touring cemeteries. Now, you may think, what in the world? But, for example, when we were in Ireland and Scotland, we saw headstones that dated back to the 1700s. And it's just interesting to think about the era, the time in which those people lived. Now, every headstone had two dates on it: the day the person was born and the day they left this world. But in between those two dates was a little tiny dash, and that represents the time that they had on this earth. So someone wrote a poem, and you've probably heard it, perhaps you have. It's called The Dash, written by Linda Ellis, and I'm going to share this before I close, and hopefully it'll be a help to you. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on his tombstone from beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of his birth and spoke the following date with tears. But he said that what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For the dash represents all the time he spent alive on earth. And now, only those who loved and knew him know what that little line was worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and try to always understand the way other people feel, and be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat one another with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a while. So, when your eulogy is being read with your life actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash? Thank you for listening, and I wish you a wonderful and successful and prosperous 2023.